Hello everybody, this is a review of Madagascar from 2005. I don't know about anybody else, but this was a movie that I saw a lot as a kid. And I don't know why, I don't think I ever remember really picking this one out and like, yeah, I want to watch this. But yeah, Madagascar just was a movie I watched a lot. I never really watched it past then that much. I never really remembered it being that great of a movie. And so I haven't really watched it since, well, really then. I mean, I watched it last year, but since then I haven't really rewatched this movie a whole lot. And, yeah, let's see why. Is this movie any good, or is it just penguin shit? So, Madagascar is about gas that goes mad in a car. Well, just kidding, that's not what it's about. It's about animals at a zoo in New York, and they really are into the New York element. Like, they do not shut the hell up about New York stuff. They reference like literally everything, and apparently these animals, despite not leaving New York ever, well, not New York, but the zoo in New York, they seem to know everything about the locations and stuff, which doesn't make any sense, especially since these guys can't even read and other stuff like that. But whatever, I'll let it slide. So it's about Marty the zebra here, who got bitch slapped by Gloria's husband one time. I'm not even joking about that. I looked that up. It happened in the Oscars. And Alex the lion. They're both the main character. And what I mean by that is that Marty's the main character for the first half, and then the second half it's Alex. And if that sounds confusing, well, it is. It doesn't really translate very well. Also, there's these penguins in the zoo who are basically have their own mission to get out and go to Antarctica by using spoons and crap like that. And they're hyper intelligent and they're very entertaining, but they don't mix at all with the rest of the movie at all. But they became incredibly popular, so much so they got their own TV show and later their own feature film. Keep in mind, this was the late 2000s when, for some reason, there was a whole penguin fiasco going on where everything was obsessed with penguins. Like, there was a bunch of movies and crap. Like, can someone explain the weird penguin phenomenon of the late 2000s? Because I didn't get it. So Marty the zebra tells his friends that he wants to get slapped by Will Smith, his fish from Shark Tale. No, actually, he says he wants to go to the wild, and that's pretty much his main motivation. It's not really that complicated, and once this character gets to the wild, yeah, that's his end of his character arc. Pretty bare-bones character. He's actually probably the worst character in the movie, even though he's technically the main character, because other than the fact he's Chris Rock, you know, Chris Rock from everyone's favorite movie, Spiral, he just wants to go to the wild, and that's it. Pretty lame character. Honestly, these characters aren't that great. But I will say the designs are actually pretty interesting and unique, especially compared to Shark Tale, which had grotesque designs. All the animals are stylized and with interesting shapes, which is actually mostly nothing about this movie. I'm glad they decided not to make Chris Rock's face into the zebra and made an actual zebra character, if you know what I mean. Well, yeah, there's also these other characters. There's Melman the giraffe, who's voiced by the guy who's in Friends. I never saw Friends, so I don't care. And our best character, Gloria the hippo, voiced by the lead star of G.I. Jane 2, Jada Pinkett Smith, everyone's favorite person who reenacts Egyptian history to her own liking. Everyone loves her, right? Just kidding. The character's not that great, but the actor's even worse. So Melman, despite the fact his character's about how hates germ stuff, he decides to lick off toilet shit or urinal stuff. Someone even use urinals? That stuff's nasty. Also, Marty escaped, in case you're wondering. He's in Times Square. He wants to go to Connecticut for some reason. I don't know what the Connecticut jokes are about. I don't understand New York humor. I mean, I'm not even that far away from New York. I'm right next to it. Well, not really. But, yeah, I don't get them. They think Connecticut is wide open and New Jersey sucks. And I resent that last part, because I'm from New Jersey, so fuck you, New Yorkers. Actually, I like your city. It's kind of cool. All that marketing there. Also, I meant to point out the scene because we get a realistic depiction of a cop.
Right, a zebra. Right in front of me. Can I shoot it?
Police officers always shooting things they shouldn't. We're also introduced to one of the most important characters in the Madagascar franchise, this old woman. Now, you might think, why is this old lady important? Well, she really isn't in this movie. But she's important for the second movie, because they bring back this random old lady for some reason. She's like literally in this movie for like 3 minutes, or maybe even less. So Alex gets shot in the ass by a tranquilizer dart, and for some reason he has the weirdest hallucination that I still do not know what the hell's going on to this day.
I love you so much.
You can take a sunrise, sprinkle it with you, the candy man.
Yeah, I don't get any of that stuff. I know he's supposed to be, like, going asleep, but, like, why does it look like that? It's not like tranquilizers are a drug, at least I don't think. Anyway, they decide that the public decides that they need to put these animals back into the wild, because they're too wild. And for some reason they think, you know what, let's replay the same exact scene, but this time sped up. I don't know what they were thinking here. This movie is basically a weird fever. We then get introduced to the trailer shot where everyone's in a box getting shipped away. And I'll be honest, the way this is like shot in animation is pretty neat. I like this composition here. I like that. It's a good shot. Well, yeah, the penguins are here. They got captured too, and they're, for some reason, I guess they were not supposed to go to Africa, but they're also on the ship that's going to Africa, so I guess it's kind of confusing. They decide that they want to go to Antarctica, so they kill the captain here. Actually, they don't kill him, but, you know, maybe they did. Who knows? These guys are kind of fucked. And because of that, the crates get knocked off the ship, and they get washed away. And Alex never sees his friends again. Also, Alex is the main character now. Marty was the main character for the most part of the movie, but now he's not anymore, because he gets his goal, and he doesn't really give a shit about anything anymore. So bye-bye. So Melman watches up with Alex, and Alex thinks it's a good idea to peg Melman's ass. So all the animals wash up on the same beach. How coincidental is that? Marty isn't too happy to see Alex as he says a famous swear word.
Oh, sugar honey iced tea!
So ironically for me, when they get to the island of Madagascar is when it goes downhill a little bit, at least in the pacing wise. So far it's been pretty fast paced, everything's been moving quickly, but most of the characters here don't have any really motivation at all. They're like, Melvin and Gloria are just basically glorified side characters, and Marty, who used to be the main character, does basically nothing. It's very slow, not much goes on, and most of it is just really bad movie references. When everything's all back, we get introduced to one of the best characters in Madagascar in DreamWorks history.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it.
Much like every Madagascar character that's popular, they are not the main character. So this is King Julian, who is the best character in the movie, because he's King Julian. And he's funny, he has motivations that make sense. I don't know why he's not the main character. I mean, he lives in Madagascar. He's more interesting than other characters. I don't know why. And he even got his own TV show called All Hail King Julian. He's also an asshole, so that's why everyone loves him. So the lemurs are scared of these things called the fusas, which are real animals, by the way. They are quite possibly the worst DreamWorks villains because, one, they have zero screen presence, they're barely in the movie. Two, they have very generic design, especially considering the animal they're based off is actually a pretty interesting looking creature. And three, their only motivation is to get a bite to eat. You know what's wrong with that?
Sir, I just came to get something to eat.
So the lemurs like the New York Giants, they call them. Ha ha ha. Because they scared the fusas, so they want them to stick around. But they don't want to stick around because they want to go back to New York, even though New York said they didn't want them. That is, for some reason, a main plot point of all three movies. And it's a really bad one because it's very underdeveloped. So for a good chunk of the movie, it's just Alex and I guess his two fuck buddies trying to build stuff to say, we're gonna go back to New York by these signs. And then all of it's just a bunch of terrible references.
Shut up, Spaulding.
You maniac! You burned it up! Darn you! Darn you all to heck!
Oh yeah, we're on the next subplot. Alex now wants to eat Marty. That's seriously one of the main subplots. It's really badly developed. It's one of the problems of the movie, is that the plots just swap drastically and they don't really go anywhere. Also, the penguins met their goal. They finally went to Antarctica, but they decided that it's not very great.
Well, this sucks.
So Alex the lion, despite being hunger deprived, starts spazzing out for some reason. I know he's hungry, but being hungry and low energy doesn't mean... Well, that's what I relate to. Being low energy. Not acting like you're on cocaine. Did he take some cocaine? Did you miss a scene where he took cocaine? So Alex showcases like he's really into big butts. And he wants to eat big, black and white butts.
You're biting my butt!
We then get the segment that's in a lot of anime movies, the Mope and Dope section. This is when the characters realize that, oh, we can't be together anymore, or some bullshit like that. Here it's because one of them tried to murder the other one. But hey, I guess that makes more sense. But the fact is that they can't decide whether there's supposed to be a sad scene or a comedic one, and the music doesn't help either, because for some reason during a scene that's either supposed to be sad or comedic, they play Louis Armstrong's It's What a Wonderful World. And if you can guess, it doesn't fit a scene of a lion rolling down a hill on a bunch of cactuses at all. Like, does any of these clips look like that song would fit? I would play it, but you know what? I can't because of copyright. So Marty tries to go back for Alex the lion, but he is too hungry and he doesn't want to hurt his friend again. This movie is just weird. Like, when starting watching this movie, if you never watched it before, do you think a movie would end like this? I sure as hell didn't. But uh-oh, the Fusos are gonna attack Marty, and Alex is gonna help out. Now, it seems like these guys came out of nowhere. That is right, they appeared in like a 2-minute scene before, now they're back at the very end. They had more screen presence in the video game. Did anyone else play the video game? I know I did. But being one of the worst villains in DreamWorks history, they are easily defeated by being scared by Alex having another spaz attack. In one of the lamest villain fights in any animation movie. 3 of them get sat on by Gloria's fat ass, and the others just get hit. I don't get it. This scene is just, it's just weird. Oh yeah, it ends with the penguins making sushi. So now that Alex won't be able to want to cannibalize his friends anymore. I guess it's not cannibalism if they're not the same species, but you know what I mean. And that's how the movie ends. They're like, let's go back to New York now. And spoiler alert, they don't. So everything ends well as it ends well, I guess. Even King Julian gets to celebrate because he has to worry about those weird Fusa characters. I didn't say much about that character because there's not much to say. He's just King Julian. If you know King Julian, you know King Julian. Before this movie ends, I got an awful surprise when watching the credits. This is something that does something to do with this movie. This is something to do with Peacock, and I could not believe this happened to me.
Why is it auto-playing to Norman North after this movie? Why?
And that was Madagascar. By the way, Hans Zimmer did the music for this movie. I mean, I guess he'll do music for any movie, but, you know, he used to be a big name. Madagascar is just a very, very, very weird and odd movie. And it's not bad, but just the pacing and some of the direction is just very odd and confusing. And it's one of those movies like, why did I watch this movie so much as a kid? I do not know, but I did, and this movie ended up being a big hit at the box office, enough for it to get 2 sequels and a bunch of spin-offs. Anyway, let's go to the ranking. While Madagascar is the worst film, it's also not the best one either. It definitely leaves you lacking some quality. It's short, but it also has some weird pacing issues. Not awful pacing issues, but very weird decisions. It almost feels like an unfinished story draft, if that makes any sense. The characters feel a little underdeveloped. The side characters are more interesting than the main characters. The naming is even weird. Madagascar really isn't that much of a play in the movie. Other than the fact there's lemurs and they showcase some of the famous trees, Madagascar is not that important to this franchise, as you'll see later on. Which is kind of weird. Like, why is it called Madagascar then? It could have been called The Wild. You get what I did there? But anyway, I don't think it's bad. It's nostalgic to me. I'm not sure if that plays into it, but I think it's entertaining. I think it drags in the second half, though. The first half's a lot more entertaining than the second half. I'll just say that. But yeah, if you haven't seen Madagascar, I don't not recommend it. Mostly because the sequel I remember being a lot better. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Madagascar for me is the top of the D tier. Well, like I said, it's not the best film ever. It's entertaining, and if you have a kid, they'll probably enjoy it. I remember enjoying it as a kid because I feel like it was made specifically for a kid rather than an adult, even though the fact they put in some really weird adult references in there is not kind of goes against that element. Like I said, it works better for a kid, but it has weird adult references. It's not like Shrek where it blends the two a lot better. It's more like, here's Planet of the Apes reference to the ending of the movie, okay? And here's American Beauty reference, which, like I said, is such an odd film to reference. Not only because the Not just because, I mean, the scene from that movie is iconic, but at the same time, the scene in question is a very adult scene. So it's like, why would you even waste your time referencing it? And for such a long period of time. Madagascar is a very odd film. It's not bad though, it's entertaining. And I like it. The animation is good. It looks a little rougher on the edges. No pun intended, so they're pointy. Mostly of the rendering, but I think that element holds up. It's nice and speedy, even though sometimes the speed just seems like it comes out of nowhere. But yeah, Madagascar isn't bad. Like I said, you haven't watched it, go watch it. Like I said, I don't think any of these movies are badder than Shark Tale. For the villain ranking of this portion, I am not going to be surprised that the Fusas are F tier. And I won't be surprised they stay at the bottom. They have very little screen presence, they have very weak designs, they don't do anything, their motivation is they want to fight, which isn't really much motivation. They barely classify as a villain, let alone a character. So they're usually the F tier. I don't know about have anything else to say about them, so that's it. Thank you for watching the video, and stay tuned for next time, which I think will be, it'll be doing Koalas and Gromit, The Curse of the Were Rabbit.